Welcome back to the channel, y'all. Today we're going to be updating our Black Mage build for Final Fantasy Tactics: The Ivalice Chronicles 4 Tactician mode. So let's not waste any time, let's get straight into it. Alright, first off, let's go over the basics of the Black Mage. So how do you unlock the Black Mage? Well, you need to go through the lengthy process of getting your Chemist to level 2. But hang on now, while you're on Chemist there, go ahead and pick up Auto Potion as your reaction ability. It only costs 400 JP, and you'll thank me later. So now that we've unlocked the Black Mage job and we picked up Auto Potion as our reaction ability, you can actually go to this job summary page to kind of get an overview of the job. So for example, obviously we're talking about the Black Mage, but you can see what type of equipment they can have. And then also I would say their bread and butter when it comes to their abilities. So Black Mage is here, Fire, Thunder, and Blizzard, kind of the three elements that they deal with. For me, I would take the tier 1 version of all three of these elements, and then from there stick to one elemental type. I usually like to just go with Thunder there because it's consistent damage and no creature can have or absorb it. But be aware, if a human has something like the rubber shoes as their accessory, that's going to completely negate the Thunder damage, which is why I like to take Blizzard or Fire as well, again, just like the tier 1 or the tier 2 version. Now before we go through the Black Mage abilities, which stats should you be looking out for to prioritize to be most effective for this build? Well, obviously you want a character that has high bravery and also high faith. And if we head to the Warriors Guild to kind of get an example of what we should be prioritizing, if we look at our candidates here, I would take either somebody like Simon here that has 50 bravery but 70 faith, or actually Laura here is actually a better candidate because they have 70 bravery and 66 faith. And females in this game actually are better magic users than males are. Males, again, they're better at physical damage, not magical. So Laura here, she would be our top candidate if we're looking at just this list here. So this is what you should be looking out for when it comes to a generic soldier. And so after getting a character with both high bravery and faith, and this can be either a male or female, it's really not going to make or break your playthrough. The stats that you want to focus on when it comes to equipment are stats that are going to give you magical attack power or speed. Speed, I would actually probably prioritize over magical attack. I think speed is just a little bit better than magical attack. And magical attack, honestly, there's going to be a lot of pieces of equipment that are going to bump that up. While speed, on the other hand, it's just going to be a little less available. But I think speed is obviously the more important stat out of the two of them, just by a hair. Now from there, I kind of want to show you my path as far as what I choose for abilities. Like I said, I like to have at least a tier 1 version of all the elements. So Fire, Thunder, and Blizzard, and then I like to stick in the Thunder category, getting Thundara and Thundaga here, and then around I would say chapter 3 or 4, that's when I'd pick up something like Thundaja, Flare, and Death. Now when it comes to your reaction ability, Magic Counter here, I actually don't really recommend picking this up. It can be good, but it's a little too niche for my liking. Now the support ability, Magic Boost, I would definitely pick this up because this is going to be an option for our support abilities. Now when it comes to this Black Mage build, what other jobs and what other skills are we going to be wanting to pair with it? Well, luckily the JP flow, the job levels, are going to be pretty smooth. So from Black Mage, we want to go straight into Time Mage. And that's because from Time Mage, we want to pick up Mana Shield, and we also want to pick up Swift Spell. Those are both going to be pretty crucial for different parts of the game. Now from Time Mage, we're actually going to unlock Summoner because you only need 3 levels of Time Mage. We'll talk about Summoner a little bit later on, but this is going to be our secondary job. For now, we want to backtrack all the way to White Mage. Now White Mage here, you should already have unlocked because you only need 2 levels into Chemist. So we want to park on White Mage for a little bit because we need 3 levels to get Mystic unlocked. But while you're on White Mage, you might as well pick up Magic Defense Boost. This can actually be really handy. Other than that, I really wouldn't worry about anything else on White Mage. But for the real thing that we want is Mystic. So again, 3 levels into White Mage, that unlocks Mystic for us. And we're only grabbing one thing from Mystic, and that is Mana Font here. This is going to be our movement ability. So let's go ahead and switch screens to our build loadout. You can kind of see the choices we're making and how it all comes together. Now on our build screen here, let's go ahead and pick our secondary job. I already said that we're going to pick Summoner as our secondary job. And from here, we can kind of look at the summon abilities that we need to prioritize. When you first unlock Summoner, I would definitely pick up Moogle, and then I'd pick up either Shiva, Ifrit, Ramuh, or Titan. I would just pick up one of them. And then after that, I would pick up Golem. Golem is an amazing utility support ability that you would just want to basically use at the beginning of your turn as this Black Mage build. And then from there, you can just worry about dishing out damage or doing a little healing with Moogle here. Now, later on, I would say in chapter 3 or 4, I would prioritize getting a big summon, something like Bahamut or Cyclops or even Odin. Now there is a secret summon, Zodiark, but this is going to be from Midlight Steep. You're really only going to be using this at the last leg of the game. So those are the summoner abilities that I would prioritize and kind of the order that I would pick them in. Now when it comes to your reaction ability, we kind of already touched on them, but we're going to be using Auto Potion here for 99.9% of the time. We also mentioned Mana Shield, and this is simply for the last dungeon in Midlight Steep and being hit with Zodiark, because to learn Zodiark as a summoner, you have to be targeted and hit by the spell, and then you have to survive it. Mana Shield, in my opinion, is just the easiest way to survive Zodiark so you can learn the summon. But again, the rest of the time there, we're just going to be sticking to Auto Potion. The only note we need to make with Auto Potion is make sure you dump all your lowest tier potions, because that is what Auto Potion will prioritize. So if you have one potion, but you have 99 X potions, if you get hit, your character will react and heal themselves with that lowest tier potion, which is only for 30 HP, instead of the 99 X potions you have, which will heal you for 150 HP. Now when it comes to your support ability, I really think you only have two choices for this build. It's either going to be Magic Boost, which is going to be that 33% damage increase to your spells, or taking Swift Spell, which is going to make you just cast a lot quicker. Check out this clip here, this comparison of using Swift Spell versus Magic Boost. Now in this clip, we're going to have two black mages that have the exact same stats. First one here is Lettuce. She has Magic Boost, and we're targeting Gafgarian with Shiva, and it's going to do 119 damage, but it's not going to activate until turn 11. And then next up we have Evangeline, and she has Swift Spell, and we're going to target Gafgarian again with Shiva. You can see it's only going to do 88 damage, but it's going to activate on turn 3. Now I'm not saying one is better than the other, so it's going to come down to your personal preference. Me, I like to take Swift Spell. This made my Black Mage absolutely devastating on Tactician mode, because we are guaranteeing that our spells are getting off before any other unit can target them and maybe take them down. So for me, I'm going with Swift Spell. And our last ability that we need to select is our movement ability, and we're going to be taking Mana Font, especially because we have Summoner as our secondary job. We're going to be using up a lot of MP. So having a passive way to gather mana with Mana Font here is just going to be essential for this build. So that's the Black Mage build. Let's go over a quick overview on how to play it, and we already mentioned some of these things, but at the beginning of the fight, you're going to want to open up with Golem. This is going to support your entire team and give them a little bit of survivability. And then from there, it's pretty simple. You just want to get within range, and then pick the most dangerous target, select the spell that's going to do the most damage, and then watch them go boom boom, my Supernova girl. Alright y'all, that's the build, that's the video. Now, is this the only way to play Black Mage? No, there's a lot of things you could do. You could take Arithmetician as a secondary profession, but that's just not the way I like to play my Black Mage. Now, I say my Black Mage, but some of you might be like, you picked a Black Mage job, but you mainly just talked about using summon abilities from the Summoner. Why not just make a Summoner build? Well, it comes down to the stats. Technically, the Black Mage and the Summoner have the same stat growth, but those stat growths are like in a bracket. So they both have like A when it comes to magic attack power growth, but Black Mage is actually ahead of Summoner. So if you actually look at your Black Mage and you rip off all their equipment, all their gear that can manipulate their stats, and then you switch them over to Summoner, you'll notice that their attack power actually drops. And sometimes their speed can drop too. And we talked about in the video that we really want to prioritize speed and attack power. So technically, the Black Mage is a better spellcaster and better at using the summons than the Summoner. But again, there's dozens of ways you can build your Black Mage out. One of the most beautiful things about Final Fantasy Tactics is the build diversity. Nobody should be making the same choices. So in fact, if you guys build your Black Mage differently, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Peace and take care.